If you're still in corporate sales in the big 2025, honestly, I feel quite fucking sorry for you. Okay. Reason for that is you have a stupid amount of internal meetings. You know, you got pretty shitty sales tactics. You're capping your skills. You're capping your income. You have to do outbound. It's a non-business minded environment. And what I mean by that is nobody's really entrepreneurial because none of you control your income. Okay, there's weird ass politics in the office and super passive aggressive behavior, and ultimately no real growth opportunities. Okay, and look, like it's fine. I used to be there too. Okay, as you can see here, me grinding in the corporate office, right, generating 6 million in pipeline and not getting shit for this. If I was in the space I'm in now, I would have kept 5% of this, and I'd be up right now, right? But that's besides the point. The whole purpose of this transition from whatever you're doing in corporate sales to then getting into high ticket is to control your income and to have more freedom and have more just grasp on your career. Okay, because ultimately within the corporate sales space you don't necessarily get that. All right, when I'm talking about no growth opportunities too, right, you'll see a lot of people stay with the company for X amount of time, get promised this and that, and then ultimately never get it, or get laid off in the process. All right, so it's not really as safe as a lot of people make it seem. Okay, I was within the corporate space. I saw the layoffs happen. Obviously, I mean, thankfully, I wasn't able to, I wasn't having to endure that, but I've seen it happen. All right, then I transitioned into the high ticket space, got to work with some really cool personalities, as you can see here featured on the screen, and I was able to get up to 17K in a single month, consistently making over 10K a month as a closer, and been able to do that, in under a year. So it's a really, really, really lucrative industry, and I wanted to share that a little bit more with you today. Now, as far as what this high ticket space is in general, it's really just selling consultative coaching and agency services from creators and influencers, right? So think about those guys you see online who are saying, hey, look, I have this coaching program, help you do this and that. You're simply just going to be selling for them. Okay, now a lot of these programs obviously out there aren't necessarily the best, but you have the same exact thing in the corporate space, so it's not an excuse to avoid the industry in its entirety, right? There's a lot of good companies out there who do a really good job and pay a lot of money. It's just up to you to understand how to find those opportunities. So you really need to take ownership of that and stop pointing the finger at all of these external circumstances, or else guess what? You'll stay in the same position, right? And if you're dissatisfied with your career right now in corporate, the only guarantee you have is if nothing changes, nothing changes. So if you want to stay within corporate and just continue doing what you're doing, by all means go ahead. But if you're wanting to get into something new, you're going to have to get over that bitch voice in your head telling you to not. All right. So within the high ticket space, there's done for you, done with you, and do-it-yourself services. The do-it-yourself services are basically courses telling you what to do and how to do it. There's no real guidance. Done with you would be giving you material, and then on top of that, also holding your hand, telling you what to do and when to do it. And then done for you would be like an agency, for example, who does all your marketing, all your sales, right? So these are the primary three that you're going to be working with. Now, that being said, done with you is going to mainly be where you're at. All right, this is mainly your ticket sizes. You're selling anything from like 310 and even 15K a month, right? I have a little bit of a thing here, closer and appointment setter, the difference between the two. So typically as an appointment setter, which should be an SDR, you're seeing 3 to 10K a month. You can make more, you can make less. And then closers 8 to 15 plus K a month. Once again, you can make more, you can make less, but this is fairly standard. All right, and another cool thing about this is if you're actually somebody who cares about your sales career and you like sales and you want to get better, this is an amazing opportunity to do so. Okay, you'll see a lot of these high ticket guys, and a lot of these coaches online, like Jeremy Miner, for example. The best salespeople in the world started with an info, which is really interesting, right? And the reason for that is because it's such a emotional sale, but then there's also the logistics as well. It can be very logistical, it can be very emotional, but the process is one of one. All right, you have tangible outcome, current situation, problem awareness, pre-handling, ideal criteria, future pacing, cost of inaction, and pitch. And it's a very dialed in framework and process, and you're not script selling. This is something that can apply to any industry. So once again, if you actually care about getting better at sales, there's no better way to get better than to hop into this industry and understand the core frameworks that are the meta or are being used right now. Meta stands for most effective tactic available. All right. This framework is the same one that allows me to close over 90%, by the way. So easier for you, 93% close rate. Your close rate's insane, 90s or some. Yeah, bro, like how you get excited from the start. Your actual cold can't lie. You got that swagginess of the pitching process. right? So, yeah, it works. It works, right? And then alongside this, you also have to actually find a role. So I want to kind of give you some sauce on that, right? Because if you have the framework in place, you understand what you're getting into, you know how to find good opportunities, how do you actually land those? I have a whole guide on my channel going over this a little bit more in detail, but just giving you a high level. You can use Upwork and freelance websites to find appointment setting and closing gigs, as you can see here. Okay. Or you can use Discords and communities, which are typically going to be paid to find roles. These are where the best opportunities are. I've spent over 40 grand on these programs and have a bunch of connections in this space. That's actually something I help my students with by just giving them interviews and helping place them. And then well found in LinkedIn, if you want to stay within that B2B space, you can find a lot of tech startups who are hiring 1099s as well. All right. Then you can also do cold outreach through these. You just go on YouTube, look up a niche you're interested in. Let's say you're a fitness guy. You can just type in people like how to lose weight, analyze their traffic, see if they have a funnel built out where they're selling a high ticket program. You can find their email on Instagram, and you'll send them a personalized loom that looks professional with good lighting. You can even offer to set and close dead leads, which would instantly get your foot in the door. And that's something I recommend my mentees to do all the time who have no experience, and you can just simply copy and paste this message and obviously adapt it to your experience, or you could even just hit them with the, hey, are you looking for experienced sales guys / gals, depending on who you are. All right. And a lot of people who I talk to in the corporate space will say shit like this, right? I'm just an SDR, not some expert closer, not good at selling without scripts, XYZ, right? And all these objections could potentially be valid, right? But at the end of the day, what else are you going to do? Are you going to continue staying where you're at, or are you going to make a change and ultimately do something about it, right? Because it's still sales at the end of the day. It's just about finding the right opportunity, and I like to give the driver and the vehicle analogy. If you put a baby in an F1 car, he's going to crash, okay? He's not going to get to his destination. You put a good driver in an F1 car, he's going to beat everybody, right? You put a good driver in a shitty broken down bicycle, he's not going to go anywhere. He's never going to get across the country in that, right? So you have to have both the driver and the vehicle in order to get to the destination, right? Destination being whatever amount of money you want to make online, and the vehicle being the sales opportunity you're in. And then the driver is being you. So if the driver has an elite skill set, or at least is somewhat competent and they have a decent vehicle, then it's going to make it a hell of a lot easier to get to where you want to go, right? Versus if you're not a good driver and you're in the best vehicle, you can still maybe get somewhere, but not as far as you would. And even if you're in a shitty beat down Honda, if you're a good driver, you can probably get to where you want to go, right? But it's about maximizing both the opportunity and the driving itself. So if this is something you want to do, you make sure you optimize for both of those, right? And understand, is your destination you want to get to, whether it's making 10, 20, 30K a month, being able to travel. I live in Bangkok, Thailand, for reference, right? Is that going to be possible with your current career trajectory? Probably not if you're in corporate. All right. So that being said, hope you all found this helpful. If it's something you're looking to break into and you have questions on it, you can check out my Instagram down below. I'm constantly posting content on this. Be sure to hit me up and let me know you came from the YouTube, and I'll get back to you. Or if you say, hey, look, Miguel, I'm ready to get started. I don't know how. This is something I'm definitely interested in. I do have a work with me button down below. You can just click on that there. We can help plug you into opportunities, help you get up to speed, and help you get to your first 5 to 10K a month in high ticket sales in the next 90 to 120 days. Anyways, not trying to pitch you too hard here. Just want to let you know it's available. See ya.